It's the Amoeba People. It's the Amoeba People. It's the Amoeba People.
Greetings and welcome to the Amoeba People Podcast, the show where science and music collide. My name is Ray Hedgepeth, the singer-guitarist of the unflinchingly nerdy science rock band, the Amoeba People, and today we have episode 5 of our musical sci-fi radio-style adventure, the Amoeba People Audio Cartoon. As I've mentioned before, all the music that you hear on these episodes, not just the highly singable and danceable songs, but the score you hear as well, is all original music of ours, and when this season draws to a close, we're going to release an album of all this new material that you're hearing this season on the podcast. So that's going to be very, very exciting. And speaking of new music, we just released a brand new song on Spotify and Bandcamp and just about every other music platform you can imagine called Christmas Ferret, a genuinely jovial tune that we think is also quite hilarious about the people in our lives who've not been so good this year and wind up getting nothing but a Christmas ferret for Christmas. Perfect song for 2020, don't you think? Check it out, and if you make playlists on Spotify, please consider putting Christmas Ferret on your playlist as well, and help us get the word out about this song that we adore so much. It's true, we adore it. Also, if there's a station in your area that plays Christmas music this time of year, we'd really appreciate it if you'd call in and request Christmas Ferret or email a request for Christmas Ferret. That'd be awesome to get Christmas Ferret out there in as many places as possible. Thank you so much. Okay, without further ado, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, episode 5 of the Amoeba People Audio Cartoon.
For decades, humans have transmitted radio wave signals deep into space. Little did they know advanced amoebic life forms on the planet Crouton received these transmissions with great wonder and curiosity. The Croutonian Council voted to send their musical ambassadors on an expedition to this distant world to investigate. These are the scientific and musical adventures of the Amoeba People.
Episode 5, A New Arrival.
In our last exciting episode, the Amoeba People, with the help of E.W. Beckford and his crazy Uncle Leon, retrieved their spacecraft, the Improbable, from the dastardly clutches of Elon Musk by escaping through a Hyperloop tunnel. They emerged from the tunnel somewhere in the Mojave Desert of Southern California. From there, they drove the silver camper trailer-style spacecraft to the M51 Records Laboratory, which is situated on an unincorporated vacant lot at a location so undisclosed we couldn't even confirm its exact location for this narration. As we join the Amoeba People in this episode, they pull up on the nondescript laboratory, park the Improbable, then begin to conceal it with plywood, rusted fenders, and random junk from the M51 Records Laboratory yard.
Well, that should do it. Yeah, I'm glad we still have these panels left over from the particle accelerator project I started working on in '05. From a distance, you'd never guess that an interstellar camper-looking spacecraft is hidden next to the M51 detached garage/experimental laboratory.
What an impressive facility you have here. M51 seems to have quite an array of miscellaneous objects in its inventory.
It's interesting how many of the items are in various states of interaction with the plant and animal life inhabiting the yard.
Indeed. How's the performance of that centrifuge affected by the overgrowth of weeds and that family of rodents nesting inside?
Not to worry. If Beckford can't clean that one up, I can probably get another. Over the years, the M51 Records Laboratory has developed unofficial relationships with various scientific institutions throughout Southern California. Oftentimes, our contacts within these organizations are able to source pre-owned equipment at little to no cost.
Basically, we get the stuff they're throwing away, but it's all still great stuff. Check out this Dobsonian telescope. The mirrors may be warped and unusable, but other than that, She's as good as new.
Coffee's ready, in case anyone wants any.
Ah, yes, the brewed bean water we learned about back on Crouton.
You guys really learned a lot about us humans through those transmissions you received on your home planet. One thing I'm particularly impressed by is how well you all speak English.
Fortunately, we have some technological assistance on that end. Before departing Crouton, we were outfitted with gyroscopic Wisbofusion translator implants by the Science Ministry. The Croutonian absurditudinal technology labs really outdid themselves equipping us for this mission, I have to say.
Say, Mr. Mosley, why don't you remove your implant for a second and speak some Croutonian for these guys?
Yeah, I suppose I can do that.
Mr. Mosley's hand gradually works its way into his ear, to the amazement of the M51 staff. After a few seconds of searching, it pops back out, having produced a small capsule, which emits pulses of multichromatic light and faint mechanical noises.
Yeesh. That reminds me of the time when the M51 8-track malfunctioned while we were listening to your Mongolian hip-hop collection, sir.
It was lovely, Beckford. Croutonian seems like a fascinating language.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but you could hear Mr. Mosley's slight West Balsamicburg accent coming through at the ends of some of his sentences.
It's true. I still can't shake it after all these years.
Hey guys, why don't we go inside? There's something I really want to show you guys.
Meanwhile, approximately 10,000 miles above Earth's surface, another spacecraft has been orbiting for several hours. The small prototype vessel is barely large enough to contain the enraged Croutonic amoeba squeezed within its cramped confines. That amoeba is none other than General Gobsplotch, commander of the Croutonian Combined Forces, who left Crouton to find the Amoeba People, convinced that they had been ambushed and detained upon arrival on Earth. The General's ship, christened the Even Less Likely, used its hyperbole drive to close the 27 light-year gap between Crouton and Earth in just a few days, only to be locked in Earth's orbit due to the General's gelatinous amoeba flesh inadvertently holding down the landing sequence bypass button. The prototype ship's interior had to be retrofitted to accommodate General Gobsplotch's obese frame, leaving no room for manual flight controls, and as a result, he is but a helpless passenger within Earth's outer Van Allen radiation belt, as his excessive girth is relentlessly bombarded by high-speed subatomic particles. Over the course of many hours, Gobsplotch becomes increasingly unhinged. He begins to feel his body changing on a cellular level and thrashes about in his rage. Eventually, his violent writhing does something to trigger the Even Less Likely's automated landing sequence, and the ship begins its final descent to Earth's surface. In his dimly lit control room at the heart of the SpaceX compound, Elon Musk stares intently at one of the many monitors surrounding him. His wide, bloodshot eyes track the heat signature of a small object as it enters Earth's atmosphere.
Could it be another alien craft? Another, sort of gift from the skies? This time, no mistakes, no, sort of screw-ups. Unit 7, come in.
Copy, Mr. Musk. Go ahead.
I'm sending over some coordinates to a very important, sort of package that you'll need to recover for me right away. Okay, now this part's very important. If you find anyone with the package, you'll need to do a little, sort of wet work. Do you understand? I don't want any complications later on from any more of these amoeba people with their silly glasses and, sort of little brown ties. Weapons hot, and bring a shovel. Got it?
Yes, sir. Understood, Mr. Musk. We're on our way now.
As Elon Musk's henchmen are loading their vehicles, the Even Less Likely is completing its terminal descent. The ship's AI has selected a cave in Los Angeles, California's Griffith Park as a suitably concealed landing point. As General Gobsplotch will soon discover, the radiation exposure has left him with some new, permanent changes.
Finally free of that cursed coffin. I haven't been able to stretch my pseudopods in so long.
As General Gobsplotch extends his pseudopods, one of them begins to take shape, and within a few seconds, it has separated from the General entirely.
Hello, Master. At your service, sir.
What? What's going on? Who are you?
I don't think I understand, sir. After all, I'm part of you, aren't I, Master?
What just happened? All I did was stretch my pseudopod.
Hello, Master. I am here to serve you, my master.
I seem to be able to spawn Meeblings. They don't seem very smart, but I like the obedience. Hey, you! One you idiot seems like enough for now. Get over here!
No, please, no, Master!
Gobsplotch seizes the second Meebling and presses it into himself. The Meebling finally stops squirming and absorbs back into the General's body.
This'll do just fine. And you! Make yourself useful. Find something we can use to conceal the ship. These Earthlings are treacherous. We'll need to stay as hidden as possible.
Yes, Master.
It's General Gobsplotch.
Yes, Master General Gobsplotch.
Just call me General.
Yes, General.
Now, let's take a closer look at that transmission I received on the way into the solar system.
Thank you for visiting our solar system. We would like to welcome you on behalf of the M51 Records Laboratory and would encourage you to visit our facility. Our coordinates are encoded in this message.
Aha! Attached coordinates! Not far away. This must be the trap the Amoeba people fell prey to. Hurry up, Meebling. We need to pay these treacherous humans a visit.
Meanwhile, back at the M51 Records Laboratory. And next, slide 68, please, Beckford. In 1610, Galileo Galilei turned a telescope to the heavens.
Sir, I think you put the Amoeba people to sleep with your slide presentation on the history of science on planet Earth. I think you just have a very soothing voice.
Yes, I seem to have forgotten my capacity for flogging a topic into the proverbial alluvium.
Don't take it too hard, sir. After all, if it wasn't for you and your M51 combination solar system scourer and automatic targeting transmitter, we never would have been able to make contact with the Amoeba people in the first place.
Well, how can we get their attention again? After all, they're the ones who asked us to give them a brief history of science on planet Earth.
Why don't we take a quick break from the slideshow, for a musical interlude?
Great idea, Beckford. 525 AC, long a man they called Thales. He predicted an eclipse and explained its cause. He said the world is governed by natural laws. Science, now that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and truth. Science, now that's what I call science. It takes a long, long time to test and find that proof. Pythagoras worked in geometry. Socrates questioned endlessly. Democritus said we're all made of atoms. Aristotle threw a logic bombshell at 'em. Science, now that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and truth. Science, that's what I call science. Takes a long, long time to test and find that proof. Copernicus worked, and when he was done, he said the Earth revolves around the sun. Galileo, with a telescope at night, proved that Copernicus was right. Kepler's discovery was critical. He found that the orbits were elliptical. Newton came along and caused a fuss with his work on gravity and calculus. Science, yeah, that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and truth. Science, yeah, that's what I call science. It takes a long, long time to test and find that proof. Robert Hooke used a microscope. He looked at things and gave them a poke. He saw that the animals, trees, and shells and all living things are all made of cells. Darwin took a trip on a boat. He sailed off to the Galapagos. Through observation, he found the connection. Life evolves through natural selection. Science, yeah, that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and truth. Science, now that's what I call science. It takes a long, long time to test and find that proof. Mary Annie discovered the plesiosaur along the cold line Regis shore. And who could forget Marie Curie discovering radioactivity? Einstein discovered relativity, said the universe is not as it seems. The faster you go, time slows down, but it takes forever just to get around town. Woo, science, now that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and truth. Science, now that's what I call science. It takes a long, long time to test and find that proof. Henrietta Leavitt studied galaxies and measured their luminosities. Edwin Hubble built on her work and discovered the expanding universe. Marie Tharp mapped the ocean floor and created quite the old uproar. At the bottom of the ocean she found a rift. Turned out it was proof of continental drift. Science, now that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and true science. Now that's what I call science. It takes a long, long time to test and find that proof. Now I could keep going on and on, but I think that it's time to end this song. If I included every scientist in history, it would take 1,000 years, so sing along with me. Science, now that's what I call science. Hypothesize and synthesize and then surmise and true science. Now that's what I call science. Takes a long, long time to test and find. A long, long time to test and find. A long, long time to test and find that groove. That's what I call science.
Well done.
Very
Fantastic.
Nice. Bravo.
That was
Excellent.
absolutely brilliant. Will the Meebs and the M51 scientists continue their musical and scientific synergy before being derailed by the maniacal General Gobsplotch and his newly acquired contingent of subservient Meeblings? Will the General's plans be shattered by Elon Musk's dispatched goons, who even now are rapidly approaching his hideout in Griffith Park? Will Elon finally succeed in seizing and reverse engineering a Croutonian spacecraft, exponentially catapulting his endeavors into the future? Can these outro narrations get any longer? Find out next time on the Amoeba People Audio Cartoon. Thank you so much for listening to the Amoeba People Podcast. Our audio cartoon today was written, produced, and edited by Ryan Mosley. Story by Ray Hedgepeth and Ryan Mosley. Voices by Dustin Jordan, Ryan Mosley, and Ray Hedgepeth. And all music, of course, written and performed by the Amoeba People. Be sure to visit our website at theamoebapeople.com, where we've got some great merch, fantastic gift ideas for the nerds in your family, as well as links to all of the zany things that we create in the name of science. You can also support what we do through Patreon, and there's a link on our website for that as well. Until next time, everyone, onward!
The Amoeba People.